Everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Tuesday edition of Today in Sports Betting. Scott, it's kind of a misnomer because today there is no sports betting. We have literally nothing to bet on here for this Tuesday night. So we're going to take a look at there's 6 games on the MACtionn card tomorrow. We're going to take a look at the first 3. We'll finish up with the other 3 tomorrow. By the time the MACtionn kicks off, you should have information on each and every game and our thoughts and how we're going to play them. You excited for MACtionn, Scott?
I don't know how you're not supposed to be excited for MACtionn. Whether or not you enjoy good football or, how do I put this, underwhelming football, MAC football is always in between and it's always entertaining. So it's going to be a pretty fun year for the MAC.
Something for everybody. They're playing a limited, what are they playing, 8 games, right?
Sounds about right.
8-game schedule, real quick schedule there. So they were late to get started. They were the first conference to put off the football season, and now they're back here in the first week of November. So we're going to see how it goes, Scott. We might as well just jump right in. I know everybody's excited, anxious about the election today. So hopefully, if you haven't made your bets yet, you go back and listen to our Election Day special. And we learned about politics by doing our Election Day special, Scott. We learned?
People are going to get bothered no matter what?
We learned people like to bet sports, not politics.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. That too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a shame.
I thought my answer wasn't that bad either.
No, your answer was not that bad either. But I've had some of my best success wagering on non-sporting events, including politics. So just keep that in mind.
I had a ton of success over the years betting on drafts for sports.
That's a good one.
But
biggest play I ever made in my life was American Idol bet.
Nice. Did you take Kelly Clarkson?
Oh no, I had it was a Soul Patrol year.
Okay.
Versus McPhee. And then I also had the curly-headed kid that came in 4th. I sold him just in time. I sold him at exactly the right time. I think I bought him for like 13 cents and sold him for 40. So yeah, that was and I got Taylor. I can't remember his name. Taylor something was his name. The gray-haired Soul Patrol guy.
I forgot what his name is because he amounted to nothing. But
what
was that, like 8 years ago, 10 years ago?
Probably 10 years ago. Yeah, I got him at 33 cents, and of course sold at 100. So that was a good thing. That was a good year for me. But moving on, we have tangible sports tomorrow. It is the MAC, Scott. We're going to start off with with Eastern Michigan and Kent State. So without looking it up, I'm going to go with the Eastern Michigan Eagles and the Kent State. Help me out, Scott.
Golden Flashes.
Golden Flash. How can I forget that? The Golden Flashes. That's right. The Golden Flashes, Scott, are a 5-point favorite. The total is 63 in this one. By the way, these first 2 games have 5 p.m. Eastern start times.
Well, for the record, there's a 6-game schedule.
What's that?
There's a 6-game schedule for the MAC.
What did I say?
You said 8.
Oh, they're just playing 6 total.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, of course, you're going to have a conference title game and stuff like that. It's going to be 6.
I couldn't remember if it was 6 or 8. I went with 8, but yeah, you're right. I knew it was one of those 2. But all right, so 6. They're playing just 6 games, so that is an abbreviated schedule on their part. And we'll see what happens because I know they're worried about their bowl affiliations and which bowls are going to be playing and everything like that. So there could be a lot of teams just playing 6 games. So Scott, let's start with this one. Are you a Golden Flashes fan, or are you coming down on the side of the Eagles in this one?
I got to support the Golden Flashes here. Overall, people might think of Kent State as being a bottom feeder in the MAC, which is a pretty fair assessment over the last, 6 years or so. Last year, they won a bowl game. People forget that they ended up beating Jordan Love and Utah State in that bowl game. And it seemed like everything kind of changed once they ended up inserting Crum as the starting quarterback, who was a junior last year. 20 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was great last year. And they're bringing back a decent portion of their team. I know Eastern Michigan ended up losing their starting quarterback in Glass III. People might remember him for getting ejected by punching that guy in the bowl game. But he was still a pretty decent quarterback in the MAC. He's not there anymore. I expect their offense to take a little bit of a step backwards. And Crum and Kent State, I think they're a dark horse candidate to potentially win the whole thing for the MAC. So for me, I'm going to go with Kent State, especially at home, -5. I think they'll win this game by about a touchdown because I really think Kent State's offense is a force to reckon with this season.
I tend to agree with you there. You talk about Dustin Crum, 20 touchdown passes, just 2 interceptions. He's also a pretty good dual threat guy. Yes, 700 yards on the ground, the leading rusher for Kent State, scored 6 touchdowns. Eastern Michigan, you touched on it briefly. They lose their quarterback. They also lose their leading rusher. And for good measure, they lose their play caller who went off to coach at a D2 school, and now the plays are going to be called by the head coach. So they've got some talent on the at the receiver position. They've got a good wide receiver. They got a very good tight end who's actually on the Mackey watch list. Problem is going to be keeping your quarterback upright and having him be accurate enough to get the ball to those playmakers. I'm kind of with you here. I think this turns into more of a slugfest than anything else, and I've got my eye on the total of 63. I think that number is too high. I don't think we're going to get much help from the Eagles to get that number there. I like the under in this contest as well.
Well, I think the one thing that might cause you to be a little bit hesitant on that is the fact that Kent State's defense was, how do I put this, relatively non-existent last season.
Yeah, they weren't good. But they do bring back a number of upper class.
They bring back a ton of experience, so you are expecting a bit of an improvement there. If you're going to be taking the under, it's mostly just the fate of Eastern Michigan. So I think if you wanted to go with the under, maybe look to a team total under there, because I do think Kent State has the potential to score 35 plus in this game.
Yeah, it's not a bad play. Now let's see if you got if it's 63 and the number's 5, you're looking at 32-31. Yeah, so you got 34-28. Is that right? No,
yeah, that sounds about right. Which is why I think
33.5, 28.5. Yeah.
So I think if I was leaning in that direction, I would probably take the Eastern Michigan under as opposed to the full game under.
Yeah, Eastern Michigan under 28.5. That's not a bad play either. Take Kent State out of it, who certainly.
Because the only way I see this game going over is if Kent State erupts for about 40 plus.
Yeah, which is certainly a possibility, but I'm just thinking they're going to want to run the ball.
That's fair.
Primarily a running team, so I think either way they're going to chew up the clock and keep Eastern Michigan off the scoreboard. So
I think Eastern Michigan probably loses by 10 or so.
That sounds legitimate. Okay, Scott, taking a look here at another dark horse candidate for the league champion here, the Western Michigan Broncos. They make their season debut against our old buddy, the Akron Zips, Scott. Only winless team in Division 1A, last year.
Well, they ended up losing to UMass, so they probably should have been demoted.
I was going to say, and that's who was the team closest to them? It was UMass, who actually beat them by 8 points. Death taxes, terrible Akron football, Scott. That's the 3 things we can count on. They were, and they did it legitimately too, man. Just a couple of stats here to reel off for you. They were last in the nation scoring, last in total offense. They averaged they were last in rushing, 47.6 yards per contest. And don't feel bad because the defense was terrible also. 122nd in the nation scoring defense, allowing 36.3 points per game. Give me some good news about the Akron Zips, Scott.
So it's actually funny you mentioned that. For the side, I'm not going to talk about anything because I'm going to be making a play of the day video on that later tonight. But it's actually kind of a bit of a parable if you have time for a bit of a story.
Oh, of course.
Yes, so I'm not going to take too long. It's a story that was told by the late, great Jimmy V, former NC State basketball coach, when he was doing those talks that he had throughout whatever. And he talked about the first time he got a job in D1 and how he got a job at Bucknell. And the year prior, Bucknell went roughly 1-25 or something. So he talked to the AD, and he was telling him, let's see what happens this season. The AD is saying, yeah, you excited about what's going to happen? And Jimmy V's going, yeah, I don't know. This team won 1 game last year. I don't know how good we're going to be. And the AD says, you're forgetting about something. So Jimmy V says, what? And the AD says, we got everybody back from that team. So that's basically what Akron has right now.
You're right.
They're awful, but there is a chance that maybe they got everybody back, so maybe they learned a lot from getting their brains beaten in the last year.
We're full of terrible players. The good news is they all came back.
Everybody's back. So,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. But I feel like that story kind of just perfectly epitomizes Akron football this season. Is that right?
Yeah, that is true. They do have. I think they're getting 16 of their 22 starters back.
Congratulations. I don't know if most of them would be starters in any other, probably UMass, but I don't know. But oh well.
Yeah, and the Broncos did lose some guys at skill positions. They lost Bellamy. They lost Wassing. Bellamy's actually on the practice squad right now for the Broncos. Well, he's on the IR right now, but he's yet to play the game. And he's a good running back.
Western Michigan, of course, the big loss is the running back in Bellamy. But then again, you also have to wonder. Running backs, of course, mean a lot more in college than they do in the pros.
Yep.
I'm assuming we're both in agreement that Western Michigan, especially with that run-first offense, is going to be a next-man-up approach. I know Bellamy's extremely talented. I got to assume Western Michigan already has somebody in the wings who's just going to put up similar levels of production.
Yeah, they've got a couple of guys there on the team. They also brought in Jackson Kincaid from Nevada, grad transfer. He seems to be a solid back, average about 4.5 yards per carry for the Wolfpack last year. I think this is a situation where they just kind of reload. Yeah, Bellamy's a special talent. They're not going to be able to replace him exactly. I don't think they have anybody on the roster that's that good. I don't think they have anybody that's going to play on an NFL squad. But against Akron, you don't need future NFLers, buddy. You just need guys that can hang onto the football and hit the holes because the holes are going to be there.
I know that Western Michigan also kind of – I don't remember if they switched quarterbacks last year in the middle or what happened. They kind of had was it a committee for the most part?
I think Wassing won the job late. They did kind of a dual-headed deal there. I think to start the season, I think he kind of pulled away from the back late.
That's how I remember it. So overall – I'm trying to figure out an area that Akron can fully compete in, and I don't want to spoil my play the day video later, but at the end of the day, it's kind of obvious. Until I actually see anything from Akron, I don't really know how you're supposed to back Akron.
We're about the 18 points. Is that too many?
I know money has started to come in a little bit on some buyback. It was at 16 up to 18, 18.5. Now it's down to even 17.5 in some spots. Do I really care? No. It's first game of the season, so I don't really expect Western Michigan to take their foot off the gas as soon as people expect, because at the end of the day, you got to find out how rusty your team's going to be. If you're only playing 6 games, you're going to have to make sure that everything is, buttoned up for future games. I don't see Western Michigan, especially with a prolonged offseason. I think they're just going to let the players play for 3 quarters and change, maybe pull them in the 4th, but I think they'll probably win by 3 touchdowns or so.
Yeah, I think that's close to right. Yeah, this is an Akron defense that gave up fewer than 30 points just 3 times last year, Scott. And that was not good. They gave up 37 to UMass. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know anything good to say about this team. And like you said, everybody's back. So we'll take a look at this one. I've also got a premium on this one. So we'll just we'll see how the numbers go, and I would probably tend to lean some kind of Akron team total under in this situation.
Well, Western Michigan, even though Wasink was decent at throwing the ball, when in doubt, the bread and butters was running the ball. So they're going to eat up a decent amount of clock.
They're going to run the ball. That's why I'm like an Akron and the team total under there.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, last game that we're going to do today. Probably going to be the most competitive game out there, Scott. The Ball State Cardinals taking on the Miami of Ohio Red Hawks. Miami -2 points right here, and tell us about this one. This is a Red Hawk team that is the defending MAC champion. They get they get the perhaps the more talented member of the Gabbard family back. Sophomore quarterback Brett Gabbard is back. They're going to be without their top 2 running backs from last year. One of them's out for the year. The other one's out for probably most of the year. So it'll be curious to see what they're able to do with the Ball State Cardinals. What do you think, bud?
Well, I know both teams last season in comparison were pretty similar in the sense that they were I don't know. I feel like at times they looked really good. At other times they looked very underwhelming. They're pretty inconsistent as a whole from the two of them. I know historically speaking, then you have to look at just that being the case for both of these teams. It's been kind of the same story. Ball State has been worse, I'd say, in recent years, but last year they showed signs of life. I think that it makes sense that this number is pretty close. Both these teams have a little bit of uncertainty between them. I know Ball State last year went 5-7. They did win the finale against Miami, Ohio by 14, so they definitely showed some signs there. If I really had to lean anywhere, I think Ball State has a little bit more upside than Miami, Ohio this season. So I think it makes sense that money has started to come in on Ball State, as Miami, Ohio was 3.5, now down to 2-point favorites. I'm going to lean to Ball State. Am I thrilled with either side? Not really, because it wouldn't surprise me if one of these teams just ends up being a lot worse than people think they're going to be. But I do think Ball State, especially after winning last year's head-to-head, I just think that Ball State's the slightly better team. So for me, I'm going to lean to Ball State.
Okay, all right. I think that's a solid play. Ball State got a very good offense. They had the best offense in the MAC. They lost 3 games by a total of 8 points.
Well, Plitt's pretty good, and I don't think he gets enough credit.
What's that?
Plitt is a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah. He's a redshirt senior. They also get their starting running back, and they also get their best receiver back. They're two best receivers. They have a junior receiver, one of my favorite names in college football. It is Hines Taylor.
It's a good one.
And Plitt, like I said, he did lead the MAC in touchdown passes in 2019. Huntley finished 3rd in rushing yards, and they combined for Hall and Tyler combined for 13 touchdowns from the wide receiver spot. The Cardinals did a good job of creating turnovers. They got 24 turnovers, 15 picks. I'll tell you what I like here, Scott. I think there's going to be a ton of points scored in this one. I think this is going to go back and forth. I think that 55.5 is too low. I like the over in this game.
Yeah, well, I know that for a quarterback perspective, you also have to look at Miami, Ohio. They're going to be getting Blaine Gabbert's brother back for his sophomore year as a starting quarterback. He's pretty good as a freshman. I know that he threw a couple of interceptions here or there, definitely started to come on strong late. I know that a couple of reasons why you might want to look towards Ball State because the line might move is the fact that 3 Miami, Ohio football players last week were suspended indefinitely for being arrested at a fraternity fight. So that is something to keep in mind. I know that the players in change aren't necessarily huge impact players, a couple of freshmen, but at the end of the day, it's a little bit of a distraction, which you don't really need, is when 3 of your players leading up to the first game of the season start having fisticuffs with other people and get suspended. So I don't think that's really an ideal situation for the team to deal with. Is it going to impact really much? No, because they're all freshmen, so they're not really going to play. But would you agree that it's not exactly the type of pre-game news material you'd want going into a season?
Less than ideal. It also maybe speaks to the institutional control that the coach has, how much they respect the coach, the team, their fellow teammates, something like that. I agree with that. That one event is not necessarily a decider one way or the other, but it certainly could be a harbinger of what is to come for that team, and maybe on the lack of discipline side. So
it's mostly that's just a side note for me. I'm leaning Ball State anyway because, as you talk about, Ball State's offense was very good last year. If you watch Miami, Ohio last year, Gabbert struck me as pretty much a game manager.
Mm-hmm.
They were the kind of team that didn't have many big plays offensively, but they relied heavily on their defense to just win the field position battle and to try to run, try to generate some form of offense. I'm trying to think of a comparison, kind of like the Bears this year, I guess.
Yeah.
Of course, a worse version in the MAC. But at the end of the day, the issue I have with Miami, Ohio is assuming that Plitt is going to be able to throw for 2-3 touchdowns, lead them to 20-plus points. Am I even certain that Miami, Ohio is going to score 20-plus points? And the answer is maybe. But it wouldn't surprise me if this offense gets stuck in quicksand for a little while. So for that reason, I'm going to lean to the Ball State. I'm going to lean to Ball State as an underdog in this spot.
All right, very good. This one hit 68 last year, 41-27 Ball State win, and I think we have a similar total on our hands here tonight. I'm not sure who's going to actually get home for the victory, but I do think there's going to be some points scored. So I'll take the over, and you can take those Ball State Cardinals.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, very good. Before we go, Scott, what did you think of that game last night? The New York Giants just
Game was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I know that I lost the play today on Gallman over 2.5 receptions. So it was plus 110. I thought the game flow would be better. At the end of the day, I also didn't expect Alfred Morris to play for three drives when he can't move. But didn't really make sense to me, whatever. But the game itself was entertaining. A couple of bad beats across the board. I know Mike Evans went under his receiving yards by half a yard. I know Scotty Miller had 3 receptions in the first 17 minutes of the game and had 0 receptions for the rest of the game. So he went under by half a reception. That was a pretty bad beat there. Game itself was very good. I did not think that was pass interference late. I thought that was a good job picking up the flag on the 2-point conversion. I thought Jones just threw the ball too late. I thought it was pretty good coverage. But I won in fantasy football, which was a huge win for me. I was down 3 with Ryan Suckup against Mike Evans, and I won by 0.6. So it was a pretty solid finish up to my day. But the game itself was good. Brady with the Giants, man, always seems to have problems year in, year out. But doesn't change much to me. Tampa, I still think is the best team in their division. I still think the Giants are either the worst team or the second worst team with Dallas. And nothing really changed there. But surprisingly, I actually could not blame Jason Garrett at all for that performance by the Giants. I thought he actually called a pretty good game.
It wasn't bad. Just the
screen on 3rd and 10 inside the red zone wasn't great, but you're also worried about Daniel Jones turning the ball over when a field goal gives you the lead. So I can understand why they were conservative there. At the end of the day, Daniel Jones had a great final drive. He missed wide open touchdowns on 3 occasions?
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, the coach can call the plays, but the players have to execute. And Daniel Jones executed for the final drive. For the first, 3 quarters, he did not. So at the end of the day, it kind of falls on his shoulders. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I thought that lauded Tampa Bay defense was a no-show for most of the night on the big plays. I thought they let the Giants have way too many opportunities. They let the Giants rush for 100 yards. First team to rush for 100 yards against them this season, by the way. Mm-hmm. Tampa Bay, of course, as we talked about yesterday, they had absolutely no running game. And the defense let them down. A lot of drops too on the part of the Tampa Bay receivers, especially early.
Even the defensive backs, they had a couple interceptions late in the game. They could have iced it. Instead, they ended up giving up the 2 4th-down conversions. But David had a wide open interception fall into his lap. He dropped it. A couple of passes here or there. But at the end of the day, Daniel Jones is going to make bad throws. I know they had 2 interceptions. You probably could have had 3 or 4.
Yep. That's fumble by Jones early. Just Ronald Jones just really set the tone for this one, where he was.
It was a good call. It was a fumble.
It was the right call. I'm not saying it was you look at it in real time, you're like, I'm not sure about that, but then you saw the replay, and it was absolutely a legit call. But handing the Giants a touchdown there, that certainly set the tone. So I missed it. I missed everything inside on this one. I
don't think really anybody hit anything unless you had the Giants. Even team told us.
I had Tampa. I had Jones over 25.5 yards rushing. He got 20. I tailed you on the Gallman. I thought that was a solid play.
For plus 110, I still like the value on it. Just didn't work out.
He had one.
He had 1 reception in the first quarter, and it was like, all right, you're on pace. And next thing you know, it's just, we're never going to throw him the ball ever again. I'm like, okay, that's great.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. So that was I'm less impressed with this Tampa team than I was before. I thought they would win the South. No, I'm not so sure. You got two teams that I don't know.
The Saints are very good either. So
that's the thing. I don't know what to make of those 2 teams. Both of them
we'll find out next week when they play each other.
Very good games, and they both played shitty games. So we'll find out next week when they square off. But that's a discussion for another day. For now, you got half your MAC done. We'll do the other half tomorrow, and then the games. I don't even know which games are going to be on TV, Scott. I haven't even checked to see which of these games.
Well, considering the fact there's nothing else on TV on Wednesday, I got to assume they're going to be scattered across the ESPN channels.
Yeah, I would think at least 2.
Probably going to have an ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, stuff like that. I'm sure all the games will be on TV.
We'll see. Anything else about the MAC for today?
No. Looking forward to chaos.
Riots in the streets tonight?
I'm trying to think of who hypothetically would be the favorites in the MAC to win the conference. And I feel like the 2 that somewhat jump off the page. I know people can argue Buffalo, but I personally don't see it. I think the two would probably end up being Kent State and Western Michigan. Maybe Toledo.
Yeah.
Is
I think
that
that's what
fair? You think those are the three?
I do. I don't think Miami repeats.
I don't either.
I think that was a kind of a one
Good
time.
for them, though. I didn't think they were going to win it last year.
No, and I think this is a good. I think you're right. I think this is a good Kent State team. I think they're a team that I think a lot of people may be sleeping on early. I think there could be some value with that team in the early going, especially. I'd keep an eye on them.
I can't find any odds, which is kind of unfortunate. I figured BetOnline would have it, but I'm kind of shopping just to see where the odds are favored. But I don't know. I think Western Michigan, of course, will bounce back. They're usually in the upper echelon in the MAC.
Right.
But last year, they had a bit of a down year. I think they should be poised with some returning starters offensively, actually on both sides of the ball, to potentially, get back to a MAC title game, something like that. But
Right.
I know currently the favorite's Buffalo. I found the odds. Buffalo's the favorite at plus 250. Ohio's second at plus 350. Western Michigan's at 6-1. Kent State 10-1.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that is definitely worth a sprinkle or two, because I think.
Well, one thing for sure, we won't know any more about this Western Michigan team than we did before the game started. I don't know that you're going to get a good read off this. Akron.
Correct. I just know that Akron and Bowling Green are both tied, of course, for the lowest odds at 100-1, which makes sense because they're both terrible. So I think that Kent State 10-1. I think they're better than Central Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that.
I would agree.
They made a bowl game last year, and they got a decent amount of people back. Crum's a senior. I like the coaching staff also. I think Kent State has something brewing over there that people aren't fully focused on.
All right, very good. We'll be back to wrap it up tomorrow, like I said, with the other 3 MAC games. But in the meantime, if you guys want deep dives into every one of these games, they're all up over there at winnersandwhiners.com. All 3 great previews. I skimmed through them before doing this show, and I highly advise you to do the same. That is the one of the best sources on the web for mid-major college football is winnersandwhiners.com. So make sure you check that out for deep dives into every game every single day, and that includes all 6 MAC games. So get yourself ready. It's midweek MACtionn, everybody. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at Winners and Whiners, of course, we appreciate you listening. Go vote if you haven't done so already. Make your voice heard no matter what side it is. This is a sacred responsibility for every American to go vote. I'm a big believer in exercising your rights. All right. So, again, good luck on all of your plays. If you guys found something to bet on today, Godspeed. If you got some soccer cooked up, or you got maybe you got a little action on the election, whatever it is, hope all those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. You guys take care. Have a great day. And we'll see you tomorrow on Today in Sports Betting. Take care, everybody. Clear.